What do your athletes need to do to increase their chances of winning a big playoff game? In this video, I am going to cover a few sports psychology and performance coaching tips to increase your athletes' chances of winning a big playoff game. Athletes, many of you dream of coming up big and delivering when it counts the most in big playoff games. How do we increase your chances of making it happen? Get your athletes to write down in as much detail as possible what their dream performance in a big playoff game includes. The purpose of having your athletes do this activity is to help them visualize themselves putting on that dream performance in a big playoff game. The more they can visualize it, the more likely they can make it happen. It goes back to seeing is believing. Let's talk about focus next. What gets your athletes in trouble when it comes to focus? If your athletes are playing the same team in the playoffs or the championship game, they can get themselves in trouble by focusing on things that happened last year. They can focus on the mistakes they made. They can focus on not winning the game from last year. They can beat themselves up with negative self-talk over their performance from last year and beat themselves up that they didn't win the game. But does that help your athletes improve their performance this year or help them win the game this year? The answer is no. What happened last year is done in history. No matter how hard you try, you can't change it. It's done in history. What can your athletes do this year to increase their chances of winning the game? Get your athletes to write those things down. What else gets your athletes in trouble when it comes to focus? Your athletes can get themselves in trouble by focusing on things that they cannot control. For example, before the game happens, they can focus on advantages other athletes or the other team has over them. They can focus on people in the sports world picking the opposing team to win. On game day, they can focus on the referees not calling the calls they think they should get. They can focus on the crowd size and what the crowd thinks when they miss a shot, make mistakes, or commit turnovers, or how the opposing team is playing. These are things your athletes don't have control over. Your athletes need to focus on themselves. They need to focus on preparation. They need to focus on executing plays. They need to focus on decreasing their chances of making mistakes. They need to focus on executing their physical sports skills correctly. These are things they have control over. Let's talk about confidence next. What gets athletes in trouble when it comes to confidence? Your athletes can get themselves in trouble when it comes to confidence by focusing on past missed shots, past mistakes, past failures during a game. For example, if your athletes made one or a few mistakes early on in the game, some athletes prevent themselves from playing well for the rest of the game by focusing on their first few mistakes they made early on in the game and beating themselves up with negative self-talk over those mistakes rather than focusing on playing well for the rest of the game. Your athletes need to focus on playing well for the rest of the game after making mistakes. Once a mistake has been made, you can't change it. And focusing on mistakes does not help your athletes perform better, and it does not help your athletes help their team win the game. But focusing back in the present moment after mistakes and focusing on the next task and the next play will help your athletes perform better and will help their team win. All right, I am going to use the Iowa Hawkeyes versus LSU Tigers Elite 8 game that took place last night as an example. The Iowa Hawkeyes did a great job of maintaining their focus for the entire game. They got off to a great start in the first quarter and built a 9-point lead. The LSU Tigers made their run in the second quarter and took the lead and built an 8-point lead in the second quarter. The Hawkeyes did not focus on mistakes, did not focus on the turnovers they committed. They focused on getting back on defense, focus on rebounding and scoring when they get possession of the ball to decrease the lead. The Hawkeyes erased the Tigers' lead before halftime. At the end of the first half, the game was tied at 45-45. The start of games and the start of quarters are important when it comes to winning games. Both teams know and realize how important the start of the third quarter was. The Hawkeyes came out on fire and knocked down some shots and made some stops on defense and built a double-digit lead in the third quarter. The great start by the Hawkeyes allowed them to take control of the game in the second half, and they never relinquished the lead. The Tigers didn't get a chance to get back in the game. Every time the Tigers tried to make a run and would knock down consecutive baskets and decrease the Hawkeyes' lead, the Hawkeyes did a great job of maintaining their focus and maintaining their confidence. They did not beat themselves up over turnovers, over missed shots, over bad shot selection. They got back on defense, got rebounds, got possession of the ball, and came down and hit shots and pushed the lead back up every time. They did not focus on their mistakes, turnovers, and the fact that they might not have gotten the rebound on the first try, and LSU got multiple attempts, but did not knock down shots. The Hawkeyes' focus and their ability to maintain their confidence and not let miss shots, turnovers, decrease their confidence, and to not let losing a few points off the lead them to decreasing their focus on executing plays and executing their physical sports skills correctly, help them to win the game and advance to the Final Four. All right, everyone, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Book your free call with the link below this video and find out more about how Driven to Peak Performance increases your children's chances of getting and keeping an athletic scholarship for college. Also, Driven to Peak Performance's summer programs are open for registration. All right, everyone, take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Take care. Bye.